mouse, obviously, and you can use a graphics tablet, so you have much more control when you're dodging, burning, and painting and masking also. You should have the latest version of Photoshop, in my case 2020, CC 2020, so you can be on the same page as me. Let's get started. So hello, in this video we're going to be learning and practicing the uses of selection and cleaning up tools. So before we start, I just want to share some Photoshop history. You see, when I had my 11th birthday a few months ago, I got this really nice PC and I would be using it for Photoshop. Well, I quickly grasped the subject and it was really fun. I recommend you to try it. Anyway, we're going back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, so I said that we'd be covering some selection tools and some healing brush tools. The first selection tool is a rectangular marquee tool. We can click and drag to make a rectangular selection box, or if you press shift, you get a square. Now you can just make it to the size and then you just get a box. And these things, they're called marching ants. They basically define the border of selection. And if you want to hide the marching ants, just press Ctrl or Command H. I think we'll keep them. There's the elliptical marquee tool, and let's just get rid of this rectangle square selection border because we don't really want it anymore. So we press Ctrl or Command D. Now click and drag, and this is an oval. You get an oval with the elliptical marquee tool. If you want a circle, press Shift and Ctrl or Command D to deselect if you don't want it. Now there are three lasso tools. There's the normal lasso tool, which is basically like, some brushes in Microsoft Paint. Click and drag, and then if you release the button somewhere near the starting point, it just snaps and closes the selection. Control or Command D to deselect. Polygonal lasso tool is basically the lasso tool, but it draws only straight lines. And if you go on the point where you started, you'll see a little circle, and that basically means, okay, Photoshop says that you started here. If you click here, you can finish. And then you have in this case, you have a triangular selection border. Control or Command D to deselect if you don't want that, which we don't right now. Magnetic lasso tool. So you click at a point, and then it tries to find all the hard edges and creates anchor points. You see, I'm not even clicking. Now I click it if I want to define an anchor point myself, because AI is not always the best, is it? Whoops, I made a bit of a mistake, so I can use backspace and then define an anchor point, and all is good. It's not the best of lasso tools in terms of accuracy, but see right there. But it's really good if you don't want to the hard times of using the normal lasso tool. See, you have a nice selection showing all the hard edges. It's using high contrast. Control or Command D to deselect. Magic wand tool, if you click, so you see tolerance. So if you have high tolerance, it chooses more of that from that color. If you have low tolerance, say 21, it only has 21 levels to you know, basically it finds the nearest colors, but it's in the tolerance level. Object selection is like a marquee tool, but if you make a selection here, it makes a selection of the subject. And I'm sure you all know who this is. In case you don't know, this is Greta Thunberg. And quick selection tool is basically like other selection tools, but it's in brush form. It also uses high contrast edges. If you want a minor, just press Alt or Option. And there, it's not as accurate. It's still quite useful. Now we have the healing brushes. So if we zoom in, you can see that there's a few blemishes on her face. So let's use a spot healing brush for this blemish. If we brush here, it uses content aware to fill in that area. But if we use the other healing brush tool, we have to alt click to define a source point, and then click to remove the blemish. Again, right there. Then we have patch tools. So if we want to, let's say, remove this mic, we can just make a little rough selection, and then we just move it. Maybe that mic wasn't such a good idea. Control Z to undo that. Maybe we want to let's remove this one. So because we don't have too much space, we're just going to do the top half first, then remove the up there. Control or Command D. And as you see, I'm using content aware. Let's try normal and source. If you click destination, it's going to copy and paste, and then you can just move that. Also uses content aware to try and mix and match. So we'll just make a selection around this bit of the mic, go to source, and then we just move it down here. So it's like transforming the selection slightly. I mean, as you know, not all robots are the best, are they? Every robot has its disabilities. This seems to be Photoshop's. And you can see we can just define the area. And then we can use other cleanup tools, such as the spot healing brush tool, to just get rid of this mess. See how efficient this is? Next up is the content aware move tool. Select the patch tool, but let's say if we want to move this button, it creates a copy and just moves it. And then you can obviously transform it to make it bigger. But we don't want that. So we just press Ctrl Z, delete, enter, and then Ctrl D, and then wait a second. I think we got ourselves a bug. So I think this is a job for the patch tool. Make a bit of a selection here, move it around, and there, fixed it. Well, we had to say goodbye to Greta's button though. That's the least of our concerns. Next we have the red eye tool. Well, it's not going to be of much use here. So I'm going to open up another image. As creepy as it looks, this actually has a problem we need to fix. This is a red eye problem. It is created when the flash of a camera or other unnatural light, or even natural light, bounces off our eye lens and then into the camera. Then this annoying little red circle appears where our pupil is meant to be. So usually you'll find the red eye tool darken amount to 50, but you can raise it or lower it. Create a large box with it by clicking and dragging, and you see it automatically does it for you. Yes, quite self-explanatory. Totally recommend using this if you need to. Anyway, that pretty much concludes it for today. Goodbye.